Congressman, you've objected to my questioning of your contributions that you've received as a member of the House Financial Services Committee in the context of your vote on the bailout. And for people who hear, so you know, the Financial Services Committee oversees Wall Street, Fannie Mae, and Freddie Mac. If your objection is sincere, will you right now apologize for using that same line of attack against Nancy Johnson 2 years ago when you ran against her? And I quote from one of your ads, "Those are all of Nancy Johnson's drug company contributions. No wonder we got a raw deal."
Well, there's no secret that Nancy Johnson, when she wrote the 2003 prescription drug bill, allowed the drug industry to essentially write that bill. That's why we have in it a provision that states that the federal government is prohibited from negotiating directly with the drug companies. There's no state legislator, there's no federal legislator that would have ever contemplated putting that provision in the bill. It simply is something that the drug industry asked for. And that's why when I was elected, one of the first pieces of legislation that I introduced was to repeal that provision. That can save us $50 billion in our Medicare line item. The association with those contributions led to a congresswoman who allowed that industry to write the bill. In this case, it's been exactly the opposite. I do sit on the Financial Services Committee, but within 4 months of taking control of Congress, the Democrats passed a reform bill with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac that hadn't been passed in the last decade. Within 6 months, a predatory lending bill cracking down on the subprime lenders was passed. Real action within the first 12 months. And I think that this issue of contributions is one that Senator Cappiello has to be careful about. Not only has he taken money from political action committees that I disagree with in this campaign, whether it be R.J. Reynolds or Pfizer or major pharmaceutical companies that supported Nancy Johnson, but over the 10, 12 years that Senator Cappiello has been in the state legislature, he's gladly accepted political action committee contributions while he's been an incumbent. He's had over a decade to set an example as an incumbent. A lot of Senator Cappiello's campaign and much of his campaign advertising has been about this issue of contributions. I have a list of your contributions that I disagree with. You have a list of contributions that I disagree with. I think we've got to get beyond these kind of accusations and start talking about your plans and my plans for making this country a better place. I think that's what people want to hear from us over the course of the next 6 days.
1 minute response.
Thank you. I actually have here a list of my contributions. I have been asking Congressman Murphy to show his list. They're on the FEC website to let people know exactly the contributions he's received. His attack against his opponent 2 years ago was she received drug company money and she voted for a bad bill, gave us a raw deal. He may have been right, but if you apply that standard, then sitting in the Financial Services Committee, he's received easily over $250,000 directly from those PACs, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Citigroup, and the like. And he oversees them and then voted for this bailout bill with no oversight whatsoever. Those Wall Street firms were begging for that bailout bill with no oversight, and those execs are going to get massive bonuses now because of it. I have been willing to move forward. I have made the offer a year and a half ago when I first got involved in the race and said to Congressman Murphy, let's neither one of us accept these PAC contributions. He declined that. But I'm telling you here today that if I am elected as the congressman and the incumbent, I will set the standard and I will simply say no to those contributions. He is yet to say that.
Congressman Murphy, you have 1 minute to ask the next question.
And again, let me just reiterate, I think past performance is the best indication of future performance. And in that case, Senator Cappiello has had 12 years to set the standard that he's suggesting today, and he hasn't done. And I think it's no mystery that we're standing on the precipice of an election, and the tune has changed. Let me try.
Hold on, please.
That wasn't asking me a question.
Well, you had 30 seconds, another 30 seconds, I believe, right? League of Women Voters to get to that question. So
okay,
let him get to that.
So I assume the next question will be another attempt to score political points. So let me try to ask another question that could get at some real differences on issues of vision between us. We're both young candidates. We both have young families. We both, I think, are concerned about the fact that all of this negativity is causing young people to walk away from politics, to walk away from wanting to participate in the process. You and I, for however long we stand on this earth, will still be involved in public service. No matter what happens in this election, how can you and I work together after this election to try to restore young people's faith in politics and political institutions?
2 minutes.
First, we can do what I've already done. If we're going to restore faith in our political institutions and our government, we can start by looking at ourselves, Congressman, when we get up in the morning and look in the mirror and say that we are going to be different than those that we criticize in Congress. The congressman likes to point the finger at Congress. The one thing he forgets is you are Congressman. You are there. You have not stepped up. You have accepted these contributions. You refused my offer to not accept Political Action Committee contributions. I'm saying that I will be different. And when I stood up to my former governor when he was corrupt, that was extremely difficult for me to do. It was you yourself asked for him to resign. But I know recently you have sought out his help. If you're going to stand up, then you have to stand up and look at yourself and say, change has to start here. You can't just point the finger at the other party or the administration. You have to look at yourself. And that's what I'm willing to do.
1 minute response.
Let's take a look at our histories of reform and move forward from there. On the three major reforms that Governor Rell proposed to the state legislature in the wake of the Rowland scandal, someone who I have not asked for the support of. Three major reforms: ethics reform, campaign finance reform, and contractor reform. There was one member of the state Senate who voted against all three. Only one. That was State Senator Cappiello. Not only did I support them, but I was in the room trying to get those bills done. Senator Cappiello will explain that he had reasons for for opposing all three of them. But on the fundamental reforms that are proposed here in the state legislature, Senator Cappiello has been the only one who stood on the outside. Not only did I support them, but I led the fight for several of them. So the question going forward is who is going to be more likely to go to Washington and pass the types of reform there that we've had here? Who's going to be more likely to pass the types of process reform that will restore young people's faith in politics? And on that score, I think it's very clear whose history indicates future performance.